So, you do not mamas, you do not need any more motivation. You do not need another productivity hack. But you definitely don't need one more thing on your plate. But today I am joined by Mihika Patel from One Mighty Mama, who helps women take and teens stop surviving their days and start leading themselves with intention. Intention is the key on that one. You doing We're doing that through mindset, systems, and identity. And this conversation is going to hit home for a lot of you. So, Mihika, this is the exact place so many moms talk about living in overwhelm, stretched thin, doing everything, and still feeling like the air is not enough. But before we get into all that, help us understand you and how did you get into this work?
I wanna say I kinda stumbled into this work. I mean, I follow what I call the prescribed path, right? I went to school, I got a degree in finance and economics of all things, and I thought I had found my career path of choice. But yeah, that career path kind of led me to one clear destination, and that destination was called burnout. And so I knew I needed a change, and that's what led me to start my business. So I started my first business, which was not One Mighty Mama, but it was kind of the foundation for One Mighty Mama. I was doing some coaching, but it was a lot more limited to self care. And I knew I wanted to coach a little more broadly. So that's kind of why I transitioned over from that business into One Mighty Mama. And it'll be 3 years this summer. So I'm really excited.
Hey.
And so I am a personal coach. And then I also am a professional speaker. And the speaker part that's the part I stumbled into. Wasn't really intentional, right? Which is funny because I try to do everything with intention, but that was one thing that didn't quite happen that way. But people wanted me to come to their organization and talk about One Mighty Mama, the coaching business. And in doing so, I thought it'd be kind of boring to just go there and be like, well, I started this business, I filed an LLC and here we go. I have clients and boom, we have a business. And I was like, maybe I should talk about a topic that, my clients, seems to be a recurring theme with my clients. And that's how I started creating these presentations. And I realized I'm like, I really enjoy this. Maybe like this should be part of my offerings. And so long story short, that's how I also became a professional speaker, and I've since gotten some, more professional training and, work on updating my skills and up-leveling my skills on a pretty regular basis. So yeah, so that is the story of how One Mighty Mama came to be.
I love that. And I think that so often that happens in our lives, right? We start one thing and we have no idea what path it's going to take us down. And then it leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. Like
Exactly.
I went to school to get my elementary degree because I was going to forever teach first graders. I have
Mhm.
never taught first graders.
Oh, never? Oh my.
I ended up going down the mental health road and did some other things and did some, work with kids that were struggling in the schools and that kind of thing. But I never taught first grade. But it
Wow,
just was
that
like,
is funny.
so that you go to school for this, which leads to this, which leads to this, leads to this, and boom, you're doing something else
You're
totally
doing
different.
something completely different, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, I have a soon-to-be high schooler, and she just the other night was like, "Well, Mama, when am I gonna know, like, what I wanna do?" And I'm like, "That is a very funny question that you ask, because I don't think I know very many people who are currently doing what they went to school for."
Yep.
And yet when you're in high school, it's such a big deal, like, "Oh, what do you wanna do with your life?" And, "This is such an important decision." And I'm like, "Really? It's not, because odds are you're not gonna do that thing for the rest of your life anyway." So do
Exactly.
something that
It's
you enjoy.
like an ongoing journey. Always.
Exactly. It's not like all roads lead to this one thing and you have to make that decision at the ripe old age of 15. Like, come on. I was like, let's not put that much pressure on ourselves.
Exactly. And, I think that's a lot. Like, that's a really good point, right? It's like too often our 15, 16, 17-year-old kids are feeling the weight of like, what happens after high school? I'm
Like,
supposed
what
to
if I
be
choose the
all
wrong
grown up.
major? Oh my gosh. Yeah. What if I don't go to college? Like,
Yes, right? Yeah, yeah. So true. So true. So tell us a little bit about so you mentioned your daughter,
yes,
you have a family.
I
Tell us
do. I
about
do.
that so we know that
So
you also are spinning plates.
Oh my gosh, yes, and how I'm spending them. So I've been married to my wonderful husband. We've been married, it'll be going on 21 years this summer. And so we have 2 kids. We have my daughter who is 14 and we have a son. Our son is 12. And they keep me on my toes, man. They keep me on my toes with the with all of it. Their activities, their moods, their emotions, the whole 9 yards. And it definitely keeps me very busy. And we just got started like a week or 2 ago, into soccer season
Oh,
for
yeah.
spring, and oh my, I was like it's like, I don't know, it's like there's just enough of a gap between spring and then fall again coming back to spring, that you forget what that life was like, and just, like, how and,
So
like,
true.
over encompassing it becomes for this, like, 2-month period where it's like most weeknights and weekends are just like, "Okay, so, like, today I'm playing around with our calendar. I'm like, "Okay, let me overlay my work schedule with my husband's travel schedule, with this soccer schedule and the other soccer schedule," and I'm like, "Oh my god," like, it's humbling. Let's just say that. That's all I can
So
say is it's
true,
humbling.
so true. And then, they become more mobile when they're 16, 17, and they have a car, and then it's like, there's a party that's like, "Oh, this is so nice." But then there's another party of like, "Okay, my child might be the best driver on the road, but
Mm.
everybody else is not." And
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, there's no guarantee. No guarantees. Well, it's so funny, I tell them because they tend to get lost. They're like, "Oh, where are we going?" And I'm like, "You seriously don't know where we're going? Like, look around you." Cracks me up every time. I'm like, "This is something you're gonna have to change because you cannot use your GPS to, like, get to school every morning. Like, you should know the road to school."
exactly, you're gonna have to get one of those, what is it, like the family tracker or whatever, so you can see
Right? Yeah,
where you're going.
exactly. I'm just like, if that's gonna be my driving test for you. If you don't pass that test, then you're not getting behind the wheel.
Exactly.
Like,
"Mom,
spatial
I'm
awareness, people.
lost."
Yes, yes. Like, where are you? Outside the neighborhood.
Exactly, exactly. Mom to the rescue always.
Oh my gosh, all the time. Should just put an invisible cape behind me.
I know, right? Okay, so when someone comes to you and they feel that overwhelm that we just kinda talked about,
Mm.
what is actually going on below the surface?
Well, what's really going on is you are like task switching, right? Like we are not focused on one thing at a time. And because there's so many plates that we're spinning, right? There's the work plate, there's the personal life plate, there's the, relationship with your spouse or partner. There's the other relationships in your life, right? Like your parents, your friends, your kids, then the responsibilities you have within the home. And I think overwhelm comes when you don't, it's like it's like the tenets of organization, right? Like, I watch those what is that rainbow show? The Rainbow Edit or something where they do all the rainbow colored editing, like the organizing in your home. But one of the things they always say is that everything has to have a home,
Right.
right? Like you can't just have like a pile of crap and be like, okay, I'm going to put everything away, but like none of it really has a home. So you have to create a home for everything. And so what I like to do is when it comes to these types of like responsibilities that I have to give them a home, meaning a home in my schedule. So, like my morning hours, so like once a month or once a week, I will sit there and I will figure out the whole schedule for the upcoming week. And that just gets me into a good spot. I put it in an obvious place, like we have a little calendar on our fridge. So any notable items will go on there along with our meal plan. So then in one place I can see, like, hey, here's a bunch of my responsibilities and here's how they're all going to kind of play into my life and how I'm gonna handle them. Because it's when I try to handle them all at the same time is when I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But if I know, like, hey, on Sunday night I did my planning session, I sit with my meal planner as well as my physical planner that has my work life on it. And then I know, hey, like Monday is a really busy day. So maybe I shouldn't do the, really heavy lift cooking for dinner that night. Like maybe that's the night we do takeout or something simpler. Or if Thursday night, for example, is really big on the kids' activities after school, then I need to pick something that's a mobile meal, right? Like maybe burritos or something that they can just kind of take on the go and they could eat in the car. Um, that might not be the day for soup.
Right.
um, to eat in the car. But kind of figuring all of that stuff out, planning it, and having a home for when those things happen, I think really helps address those root causes of overwhelm because you can't do everything and be everywhere and be everything to everyone at the same time. but you can do a little push and pull and, like Monday is my day for this, Tuesday is my day for that. Like you can change things up from that perspective. And I think that makes things a little more manageable, right? Like I can't promise my clients I can reduce their responsibilities, but I can help them reduce the impact or the heaviness that they feel from their responsibilities.
I love that. So, do you have, like, do you sit down with your family and plan times and everything for that, or do you just do it all yourself?
I usually just do it myself only because but I have them feed all the information to me. So, like, as soon as my daughter gets her game schedule, I have her text it over to me. My husband, with his work schedule, we have that on our Google Calendar. But I find I have to take it from the Google Calendar and put it into a space where everybody can see it because the kids don't have access to our Google Calendars, and I want them to know what's going on too. In case one of us has a late evening or things like that, then they know, "Hey, like, where'd mama go?" Like, "Oh, that's where she is," or, you know, Papa's got something else going on, and that's where he is. Because now they're old enough. Before it was just like, "Oh, we're going out." Okay. Like, as long as one of you's home, we don't really care what's going on. But now they have questions. Now they wanna know, like, "Oh, where you going? Who you going with? When are you gonna be back? Which car are you taking?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, this is like an inordinate amount of detail that you're asking for." Like, "Which car am I taking? Why does it matter which car am I taking?"
So, I notice that you have a physical calendar.
Yes,
You
I
like you
know.
like to have that, right?
I have like this is the holy grail. Like everything is in here. I can't rely on my Outlook calendar because there's probably some meetings that will never make it to my Outlook calendar. But everything is in here, which I find odd because I'm not really an analog kind of girl. I'm a very digital girl. Like I do everything else on the computer.
Yeah,
But this is the one thing I can't. I've tried so many times to be like, "Okay, Mihika, this is the year we're gonna do it. We're not gonna
yeah.
buy the next year's planner and we're gonna go full on digital." And I can't. Something about this, the text tactile what's the word? The tactual nature, that's probably not the right word. But to something having something in my hand that's tangible and writing it down, and I can do colors and I have flags and I'm in love with this one particular company for no other reason other than it has big enough blocks for me to write stuff in, and that just makes my life a bajillion times easier.
Interestingly, I'm the same. Only I have, like, a big desk calendar, and I have tried calendars like that. I've tried it, like, and I gravitate towards, the and I do the
Yeah.
same. Highlight, draw little hearts or whatever that looks like,
Mhm.
yes, totally, totally.
I love it, and I love that I can take this on the go.
Yeah,
Wherever I go, it's with me, and it can fit into my little handbags, my big handbags, everything.
yeah, exactly. Because you never know when you have to write something down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm hearing you talk about this calendar and I'm hearing you talk about all this planning, and I'm like, poof, peace out. Why
Yeah.
is motivation really not the answer? Like, it's not about being motivated. What is it about instead?
It's about discipline. Which I know gets a negative connotation because you think of discipline meaning like, oh, like a teacher disciplines the students, or the parents discipline their kids. But discipline is actually doing something that you'd probably rather not do and do it consistently because motivation will come and go. And if we rely on our motivation, I mean, it's probably fine when you're younger, but as an adult who is spinning all those multiple plates and, who's running a family, right? Like there's people that are dependent on me making sure things are going smoothly. And really, to be honest, since going through that phase where I was burnt out, like I can look now, right? Hindsight being 2020, to think, okay, that was a time when I wasn't doing this type of planning, and that was probably the time I needed it the most,
Yeah.
where I would just kind of walk into Monday morning like, okay, without any intention, and we'll just see what happens, and like I'll deal with dinner when I get home. But when I get home, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm mentally, physically drained.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the bandwidth to one, think about dinner, two, get it ready and going like as soon as I walk in the door, and three, making sure I have enough groceries and stuff. Like I didn't have any of that.
So
So
the
you have
planning at the forefront helps like relieve all that pressure and some of the spinning of
that
the plates and all
pressure,
those kind of things. Cause
all of that pressure.
yeah,
And there's times when you don't feel like doing it, right? There's times when we're out all day on Sunday. At that time, I should stop and think, like maybe by Friday, to think, looking forward into the weekend, okay, well, if I know I'm gonna be out all day on Sunday, then maybe I should do my planning session on Saturday, or
Yeah.
heck, maybe even do it on Friday, right? But like, or even if I am gonna be out all day Sunday, then when I get home, just take the 10 minutes and just take a quick glance, right? Look through the Google Calendar on here, look through this calendar, make sure, I know all the kids' schedules and what they've got going on. Sometimes it's small stuff like, oh, well, you have a birthday party next weekend. Well, then if you have a friend's birthday party, then maybe we should order their gift and
Yeah.
have an idea of what they want, right? In time so that Amazon can get it to my front door. And that means I'm not scrambling on Friday night because I'm like, well, now I waited too long. Now Amazon can't deliver it in time. And now that means I have to go out into the store, which as much as I love shopping, I despise. I don't like um, going into the stores sometimes. It's just, I find it so cumbersome. And I'm like, I just can't. Why would I bother? Like, I could just order this online and it'll show up at my front door. Why do I have to
Yeah.
bother going?
Yeah, you
So,
can
what
send your
anytime.
groceries to your front door too.
Yes, it is the most wonderful thing because I've discovered I don't like grocery shopping, and whatever I can do to avoid it, I will do it.
I think my grocery bill has been cut in half just
Oh,
by
I'm
because you
sure.
have if you take that time to cut all the coupons, do all the things, it just like in fact, I tell my boys every week, I'm like, "Okay, so my grocery bill was $420. Guess how much I spent?" Right? And then we play like a little guessing game, and I'm like, "Maybe
Oh,
120," like, or whatever
wow.
that is, right?
Okay. I was like,
And right to my door.
$420. I was like, these boys are eating you right out of the house.
Ugh, true. That's a whole different
That's
conversation.
a whole other podcast episode.
You have one of those at home.
I do, and we're getting to that point where I'm like, your appetite is getting way, like, beyond anything I could have predicted.
Yeah, and, you wanna be the home where everybody comes and they
Yeah,
have their friends and all that
yeah.
stuff, but
So
then
that means you have to
you gotta
have the
plan, like,
snacks.
6 times what you normally feed your
Oh my gosh, yes, all the snacks. Like, I go to Costco, I don't even mess around with the regular grocery stores anymore. I'm like, I need warehouse-sized things here. Everything in bulk.
so true. So, I mean, girls are the same, like, there's a the when they have their friends over, it's similar, but,
Oh,
you know
then we're going all in on the nails and the face masks and, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
And little, like, charcuterie boards versus,
Yes. Oh,
just give me
yeah.
boys are like, "Just put the Totino
Just give
pizza
me the
meat
bag of
in the
chips.
oven and we'll" yeah.
Yeah, and we're
Exactly.
happy.
Exactly, I love that. So how long okay, so it's not taking you 6, 7 hours a week
No.
to organize your calendar. How
No,
long
no.
does
I
it take
have it
you?
down to a science. And so I use AI to help me a lot. And this is how I use AI for my meal planning. Like I have different buckets for different days. So like Tuesdays, for example, is always Mexican food. And so I'll kind of just put in like the top 5, maybe 6 different types that I like, and I put them into a spreadsheet. And so, like, Monday will be, like, Indian food, Tuesday will be Mexican food, maybe Wednesday will be Italian and whatever, and so on and so forth. And then I'll just cycle through them. So, basically, every 4, maybe 5 weeks, we're having the same thing, like, Monday through Friday, but no one remembers, no one notices, and it makes my life
Right?
so much easier. Like, I'll plug in some, like, new things every now and then, but at least I don't have to think about whole weeks worth of new things. Like, that's what makes it so much easier. So, like, for example, with Mexican, like, if one week we're doing tacos, the next week we'll do burritos, and the one after that we'll do quesadillas and enchiladas
Yeah,
and nachos
yeah,
and whatever. And that's like 5 meals, and then the week after we'll start back up with tacos,
yeah,
and then we'll kind of work our way back down again. And honestly, by that point, no one really cares that like, "Oh, we had tacos 5 weeks ago. Are we having tacos
right,
again?"
yeah,
I mean, that's the
exactly.
kind of thing they probably want all the time. But it's like, I try to make it simpler for me to figure it out. So when I'm down to week 2, I'm like, "Okay, well, I already have it all mapped out."
Yeah,
And then I know like, okay, this is what we're making Monday and Tuesday, and this is just how it is. And then I have a whole list that I keep on my phone, like first figure out the dinners, the 5 dinners that we're gonna eat. I'm not saying that will happen on Monday. Monday's meal might happen on Wednesday
yeah.
because of just the nature of it and the nature of the rest of the schedule that's gonna come. Then I look at the kids' schedule, then I look at my schedule, then I make sure there's like no school holidays or anything like that, right? Like something that'll 'cause that I've been known to have that happen where I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean you don't have school tomorrow?" I'm like, "No one told me that." And then I look at my calendar, I'm like, "Oh, there it is. I just didn't notice it." So, kind of taking all of that into account, making sure it's all reflected where it needs to be reflected. And so it just makes my life easier. So even in here, at the beginning of the school year, I'll put in all of their school holidays and I'll also put it on my phone. So when I am looking at work stuff, like if I have an engagement or something, then I'll say, hey, oh, my kids don't have school that day, which means I can't be like, I need to be home.
Yeah.
Um, so
Then you
yeah,
can plan for
no,
Costco and make sure you have Costco
exactly. Oh,
all
yeah,
day
yeah,
because
yeah.
they will
Like
eat
if I
that out
know
at home on a
Oh
holiday.
my gosh, they absolutely will. So I'm like, if I'm going in that direction, I have a meeting in that area because we live in this weird, like, blank space where there are no Costcos nearby. Everything is like 45 minutes away.
Oh,
We have
no.
all sorts of other stores like, a hop and a skip away, but for some reason Costco is not nearby. And I mean, you pick a direction, you go north and there's a Costco 45 minutes. You go this way and there's a Costco and that way and then you go south and there's a Costco 45 minutes. I'm like, why can't there be one any closer? So anyway, I have to plan that one.
Oh, yeah.
So if I have a meeting in that area, then I'll be like, okay, well, after the meeting or before the meeting, I will go to Costco. And so, yeah, all like down to that level, all gets planned out
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's the only way I can function and know that, like, okay, well, everything has a time and a place, and that when I need things, they'll be here. Because otherwise, you go into the week and then you're just playing like you're just playing reactive ball, and I hate reacting to things. I want to be proactive and intentional because it helps me show up as such a more calmer person, right? Like, because I'm like, okay, I know how I'm going to be juggling all these plates. I know how I can keep them spinning because as soon as one starts falling, then you're putting all of your energy into keeping that one up, and then something else starts falling, and then we all know it's a delicate cycle after that, very delicate balance after that. Um, so whatever I can do to keep everything in motion, I will, and it makes it so much more better for me. It's so much
Yeah.
easier.
And let's just be real. Nobody likes reactive mom.
No, no. Reactive mama is not she's not mighty for one, and she's just not very nice either.
Exactly. What is, something that women are trying that just isn't working? Do you see kinda with your clients and things that people you talk to?
They don't like to delegate.
Mm,
That is one big thing. They wanna do everything themselves, and, I really dug into it with several of my clients. I'm like, "Just help me understand why. Like, what is the problem?" And I get it, sometimes there's no one to delegate to, but
yeah,
many of them have a partner, right? Have a spouse. Um, I'm like, what's why are you not, like, sharing the responsibility for this?" And then it comes down to usually one word is what I can boil it down to, and that is perfection. Because that person can't do it as well as they would do it themselves.
right,
And I'm like, I understand that, but at some point you have to delegate some of these tasks and be okay with the imperfection of it because then that opens you up to focusing on other things, right? Because not everything requires the same level of your attention. There are some things that will require more attention than others. But if you are giving your equal attention to even the most, mundane or inane of tasks that maybe are not as high priority as others, then you're really stretching yourself thin
yeah,
for no reason. So that's usually the one thing I ask people to release. I'm like, release the idea of perfection. Like good enough is good enough, like it things and it's been a struggle, but I have really forced myself to accept that. And I think since doing that, I have felt significantly better
yeah.
because I'm like, now I can give more of my attention to the things that are higher priorities.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's such a weight lifted because, you
Absolutely.
know, I once I gave up the dishwasher has to be loaded a certain way. Like
Mhm.
the water jet cycle, it will be fine if they don't go the way that I think that it should. You did it. I don't have to look at it. So fabulous.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Mhm. And when something doesn't go right, then guess what? That's something you'll be fixing, not me.
Exactly. Exactly. I cringe because so many, young adults today do not separate their laundry, including my boys. They just open the washer, put everything in, and
Just
just
dump everything
and
in.
just go, "Ew." But I had to let it go. It's fine. If you have pink socks, it's fine.
It's all good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're your socks then. If they're pink, then that's for you to wear. Yeah, I agree.
the whole natural consequences.
Mm. Yep, yep. Hey, you do it once and you'll learn.
Exactly. Okay, so you have this lovely 3 pillars mindset, and we'll get to each one of them, but can you just give, like, a general overall piece of what that is?
So, do you mean my first 10 framework?
Mindset, systems, identity.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, so really what it comes down to mindset and systems and identity. So the mindset really is just how you look at things, right? Like um how does that impact like what your view on the world is?
Mhm.
And I think that has a lot to do with that inner narrative that we tell ourselves because there's a lot of influences out here in the world, right? Like I know a lot of people as soon as you wake up, you open up this guy, right? And you're like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on in the world," right? What's going on in world news or in just right here in my backyard? What's going on social media? What are my friends up to? What are the people that I follow? What are they up to? And I think what it leads to is it creates comparison, it brings negativity into your life, and it just brings a lot of extra noise. And we need to have systems that address how we are going to be using those things, right? And so one of the systems I always like to talk about is the first 10, which is how to capture that first 10 minutes of your morning and that's like it's such a transformational system to bring into your life because in the morning, especially when you wake up, your brain is in a particularly malleable state and whatever you feed it kind of sticks with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're going to feed it, things that are going on in the world that are making you feel maybe a little anxious, right? Especially in today's times, right? There's all sorts of things going on in the world that are very nerve-wracking. You're like, "Okay, any minute now, this could be the end of it."
Ah.
Like, who knows? Who knows? Um, and that for some people is incredibly anxiety inducing. I try to kind of stay away from it. I don't even read the news, which kind of makes me seem a little naive at times because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, what happened? I don't know what's going on in the world." I'm like, "It's
Yeah.
kind of by design." And
Yeah.
that is my system, right? That's how I protect my peace, okay? I don't look at what all is going on around me. And, people have their own ideas about that, but it's what works for me.
Yeah.
But all of this kind of feeds into your identity, right? And this is who you end up becoming, right? And it's all a product of your mindset, of the systems you have in place. And your identity is kind of how you're known to people, right? And how you see yourself.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
if you keep feeding yourself those negative thoughts, it's going to start reflecting in so many other parts of your life,
Yep.
whether it's, how you carry yourself, how you walk into a room, how you talk about yourself, right? And this is not just like the job interview syndrome where it's like, okay, here's a chance where like all eyes are on me. How am I representing myself? But just day to day life, right? Like when you walk into the office, are you saying hi and good morning to people? Or when you go grocery shopping, do you say hi to people? Do you smile at the cashier? Do you try to make small talk, or are you just like, "Okay, I'm here to pay, and I'm here to get my groceries,
Yeah.
and don't talk to me."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all those things kinda play into how you represent yourself.
So how does not be doing those things, how does that contribute to burnout?
Well, it really contributes to burnout because you end up getting into this negative loop, right? And that negative loop is where I mean, we already have all these responsibilities, right? Like we're kind of layering now. Ooh, just move my laptop there a little bit. We're layering a lot. So we already have the base, which is all of our responsibilities, right? All these plates that we're spinning. And then on top of that, if you start telling yourself that you are not capable of keeping those plates up in the air, that's gonna make it a lot more likely that you will start doubting yourself,
Yeah.
right? That you will start thinking, okay, you know what? What's the harm if I let one of them fall? And then that's, I think, where burnout really starts coming because think about it. Which one tends to fall first, right? You're not going to let the kids' ball fall.
Right.
Maybe you'll let the home ball fall and you're like, okay, I'm living in a pigsty and I haven't done laundry in a couple weeks and God forbid, who knows, the dishes are piling up in the in the sink. Um, but the one that automatically falls off first that I found is the one where you're taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
right? You stop exercising, you stop caring what you're eating. I know for me, I used to eat so much sour candy. Oh my gosh, that was like my go-to. Sour Patch Kids, 100% the watermelons. Oh my god, it was the worst, because I'm just like, I don't care. I don't have the time to even think about, am I getting in my steps? Am I going to the gym? I'm like, the gym? What the heck is the gym? Like, I would be really heavy for a few weeks, and then I would totally fall off, and then I wouldn't go back for months, because I didn't have it in me anymore because I was burnt out. And so I think when you start, thinking about your mindset, if you start telling yourself, "Hey, you're capable of doing this," even though it's hard, right? Maybe the motivation isn't there. That's why you need discipline, because discipline is kind of that steadying factor. Motivation, I feel like, goes up and down, and then discipline is what kind of keeps you even keeled.
Yep,
So even on the days when you're feeling great, you still do it. The days when you're not feeling so great, you still do it.
yep.
Like, regardless of how you're feeling, you still do it. So you take mindset, and that helps address the core root cause of burnout. And then you create those systems. And those systems, I like to say, are like the foundation. That's what's supporting you from really falling into the
Uh,
deep end.
yeah,
Um, and all of that forms your identity. And your identity is someone who is reliable, someone who's dependable, someone who gets things done. But you're only able to do those things because you have these systems that support you. So it all kind of feeds itself. And I think overall, it creates a picture that makes it easier for you to keep on top of things and avoid that burnout.
yeah. Yeah, and I think it's such it's a cycle, whether it's a healthy cycle or not a healthy cycle, right? So it's a good cycle, like you're disciplined, you plan your time, including the gym, getting your hair done, whatever that looks like, and
That
you're
all gets
on
put
this
into my
cycle.
plan. Yep.
Or you plan the cycle of not doing those things, not being disciplined. You're sitting in your house is, a mess, and which perpetuates not feeling good about yourself, which perpetuates not doing those things, which perpetuates, like it just is a down, you're either spiraling
Oh,
up or you're spiraling down.
yep. And it's up to you which direction you're going in.
Yeah.
Like, all that
It's
power is on you.
never too late either. If you're
Oh,
spiraling down,
no.
you can baby step your way back up.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's the key right there. I think you said something really good there, which is baby steps, right? It doesn't have to be this big sweeping thing that happens overnight. It's the 1 degree change, right? Make the 1 degree change.
Yep.
It's like shifting the Titanic, right? You can't If you think about shifting the entire direction of the Titanic, it feels very overwhelming. But if you think, all I have to do today is shift it 1 degree, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I could do that. Like 1 degree, sure, I can help it shift 1 degree. It's not even noticeable, but it is a small change and it does have impact.
Yeah. Bit by bit by bit by bit. You know?
Mhm.
I mean, if you've taken your car ever on the back roads and you get in a spot where you can't, like, there's no turnaround, right? You have to, like,
Oh,
turn your car
right? Like the
slowly to
craziest
touch the
K-turn
ground.
ever.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, and that's just how you have to do it.
exactly. So let's talk about when you say systems, what do you mean? Because most moms hear that and they think, more structure. I feel exhausted already.
I mean, I hear systems and you hear words like routine or boring even. But I think systems are where it's all at, because and I'll tell you why. Because systems help you start running on autopilot. And autopilot is like every mom and like high performing woman out there. It is their dream to be operating on autopilot. I know some people kind of give it a negative connotation, um, that autopilot means you're not really, in the moment, you're not present. But I'm like, there's certain things you don't really have to be in the moment and present for. I'm not saying go on autopilot when you're talking to your kid. For that, you want to be present, okay?
Right?
There's really no system there to it. That's just okay. All my my armor is off, and I'm just gonna be here, and it's just you and me, and we're just having a chat.
Yeah.
But there's other things in your life that don't require that, right? Like, even this meal planning thing that I do. This recent thing where I did, like, the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, that's a relatively new update. Um, I didn't think about that until maybe just a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, "Oh, let's try this," and it worked. But these systems are they're trial and error, right? And you have to find the one that works for you. But once you get there and once you start playing around with it and you're like, okay, well, let me start tweaking this and, making those minor adjustments, it becomes something that was, and you're always going to pick something that's bothering you, right? Like, here's a thing that needs to be done, but I don't enjoy doing it. And that's the one. That's how I usually tell my clients, like, when they're trying to figure out what to turn into a system, I'm like, "It's usually that.
Yeah.
The thing that kind of, like, is a thorn in your side, but is still necessary. You can't just be like, 'Oh, I'm not gonna do this.'" Um, that's the one that you start addressing. And what it does is when you can go into autopilot, that's one less decision that you have to make. And many times it's one less series of decisions that you have to make.
Yeah.
And that just in essence, what that really means is it made spinning that plate infinitely easier because you're not actively thinking about spinning that plate all the time, all day long. You already thought about it once and then it just kind of cruises, right? It just spins on its own for the rest of the week or even the month. I mean, I know I have friends who are like, I'm just going to meal plan for the rest of the month. I'm like, you do you, girl. That sounds awesome. Like, I don't think
Right.
I could do it. I think I would still sit there the week before, and I'm like the Sunday night before, I'm like, "Oh, let me make some tweaks here." I'm like, "What was the point of that?" But whatever works for you, right? And that's the thing, it's gotta be customized because what works for me may not necessarily work for the next person.
Yeah. True. True. And no matter how system oriented you are, no matter how much you put in place, things happen, right? So
Absolutely.
if you know what you're making for dinner, you know what your schedule is, so when something else gets thrown in there, it's like it's not a big deal because you already are on autopilot on all the other things. So you can give your attention to whatever comes up.
Exactly. Exactly, you nailed it right there. Because that's the only thing we can count on, right? That unexpected things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe you hit traffic, you get home a little bit later than you expected, or your kid, I know my son likes to do this every now and then. "Oh, mama, by the way, tomorrow I have a project that's due." I was like, "Oh, really? What does this project entail? Is it just an essay that you have to write?" "Oh, no, it's a project. It's a poster board and a
Yeah.
diorama." And I'm like, "Oh my god, you're saying all the words I don't wanna hear." Um and, like, then I'm just like, "Well, there goes my plan for the evening because this is what we're doing." But if I know that I'm supported by that system, I'm like, "Hey, I already picked, like, a particularly easy meal. I don't have to do too much. We don't have a lot going on otherwise." Like, it becomes easy to do. Or if we do have stuff going on, I'm like, "Okay, well, while I'm out, I'll pick up supplies, and then, once we get back home, I'll leave you to it." Because we are not holding ourselves to perfection. I have stopped doing kids projects. I'm like, "I'll help you strategize, I'll help you put together a plan, I'll help you get all the materials, I'll even glue things for you if you want, but that's under your guidance. Like, you tell me what to glue and I'll do it, but I'm
Yeah.
just not gonna, take over."
I love that. I love that because I think that too often moms feel like those projects are a reflection of them, and
Yeah.
not true.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. It's so funny because 'cause we'll go to the kids' schools and they'll have, like, exhibits and they'll all the other kids have their projects, and it's like, which ones the moms did and which ones the kids did. I'm like
So true.
Like, you've gotta be joking right now, but the fun times.
Yeah. Just wanna let you know in my head, I am going through all the fun projects that I did for my kids when they were little. When they were, like, kindergarten, 1st grade.
Really little, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a different story, like, that age, they don't even, yeah. But, I mean, we're talking, like, middle schoolers, I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think that's."
Well, I don't know. There should be some direction, not like I send you to bed and I do the entire project and you
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe guilty of that a little bit, okay?
Just
Just
a
not
little
too
maybe,
much.
that was a different me.
Exactly. Okay, so identity, this is big. How does identity play in all this? You talked a little bit about that, about how
I did. So identity is really just how you see yourself, right? And I mean, I would say it's more important than how others see you. But there is a certain identity that you want to portray, especially when you're a professional, right? You want to be known as someone who is reliable and dependable. And especially when you're in a client facing business like ours are, I mean, that know, like, and trust factor, right? If you are not likable, if you are not trustworthy, then
Mhm.
that starts having a major impact on your bottom line, right? And even just in general, right? You want that reputation and you want that identity, but it needs to be aligned with how you see yourself.
Yep.
So whenever I'm working with my clients, I tell them, "Don't even worry so much about the outer because we'll get to that." But the outer has got to be in line with how you see yourself. You cannot be a, a star entrepreneur, businesswoman, if on the inside you think you're not worthy of any of it. Because eventually that inner narrative will come out. It'll start showing up in ways you don't even intend it to.
Yeah,
You'll start you'll start talking yourself out of negotiations, right? You'll start, you know, the way you price yourself. All those different things, the opportunities that you'll go after or won't go after because you don't think you're worthy. Like all of that has downstream impact. So identity is really, really important and how you view yourself and what you can do to positively manipulate that, right? Our mind is very malleable. And you can manipulate it to go in a negative direction or in a positive direction. But that choice is solely yours. And that's a choice that we have to make day over day. That I choose to be positive today. I choose to think, hey, what's going to work? What's going to, make me feel better about myself? Not how can I go further down in the dumps today? Like, right? Like who thinks like that? Nobody wants to do that. But of course it turns into a byproduct because of everything else going on around us. So all of this stuff kind of plays into itself, right? Like if you don't have those good systems that are supporting you, if you don't have the mindset, then all of that reflects in your identity. And then you start seeing proof of it around you, right? Whether it's positive or negative.
I
The
love it.
negative proof could be your home life falling apart, right? Like it could be the mess, or the mess at work, things like that. And that could impact you. Or it could be the flip side, right? Things are going well. You have a system in terms of how to maintain the house, and now all that feels a lot better. You walk through the door at the end of the day and you're like, okay, I have a plan. I know what I'm doing to make my way through this evening. And then same as when you get to work, right? When I come down here to my office, I'm like, okay, I know from the night before because I've already figured out what I need to get done today. So as soon as I sit down and get here, I can start working. I don't have to spend half an hour thinking, okay, what should I do today?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it really does take a load off of your shoulders on the day to day. It is, to front load it, it is a little bit of work, but it just makes such an incredible, huge difference down the line. So, okay, so you have a mom who's listening right now, right? And she's thinking, everything that you're talking about, this is me. I got the plate spinning. I got them falling out. I'm sitting there, laundry piled. Like I am overwhelmed, right? So, where exactly does she start?
So that depends on what your priorities are, right?
Mhm.
Um, and it could be a few different things, right? Like let's say if laundry is at the forefront because your kids need clean clothes. You need clean clothes. You have a presentation tomorrow. You have a big meeting. Your kids have a recital, whatever. Then that might be the thing that you tackle, right? And it may even just be like, hey, let me just pick out the few things that I absolutely need in this moment for the next couple days. Take care of those, fold them, put them away. I'll come back and address the rest later. So I think it also depends on where your priorities are. And the other thing is, give yourself grace. You are not going to be able to tackle all of it in one night,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's that
Pick
inch by
one
inch
thing.
little, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Pick one area and fully take care of it, right? Sometimes for me, it's like if my kitchen is clean and my living room, like the pillows are all in the right spot and, things have been picked up or whatnot, um, I feel a lot better, even if the rest of the house is still in turmoil.
Yeah.
Because those are, like, the main common areas that everyone gathers in, and, it's visible as soon as you walk into the house, and I feel a lot better when that's like, even if just my island is decluttered, I'm like, "Man, I feel like I could do anything today."
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
don't look anywhere else, right? Put on blinders, just focus on the island. Um, but it's just something about it, like, just focusing on one task and just getting it done, you start building up that momentum and you're like, okay, well, if I can do that, then I can also do the thing next to it. And then you start focusing on that. But the idea is to give yourself grace, accept the reality that you may not be able to get everything done, but try building up that momentum with small tasks.
Yeah.
And then start doing a little bit of it day after day, week after week. And I think when you start making it a consistent habit, that's when real change starts happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is so important too. So, what does it look like to lead yourself in the middle of chaos?
Mm.
and not when life is calm.
And not when life is calm. So when
Yeah,
things are chaotic, I think that is when you really have to give yourself grace. Like
yeah.
that is that is the time when, perfection goes out the window and we're like, okay, we're just here to survive, right? We're not
Right?
gonna be
Yeah.
perfect. We are truly in survival mode.
Yeah.
And there's times when I'll give you an example. Just a couple weeks ago, we were heading down to South Carolina for spring break. And, that's about like a 10-ish hour drive. So there was, there's a lot of balls in the air, right? A lot of plates that we were spinning. On top of that, 2 hours before we left, I was just coming back from a speaking engagement.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
had yeah, so it's like when it rains, it pours. And, for a minute I thought, oh, we would leave the next morning, but my husband's like, no, I think we're gonna have to leave tonight. And I was like, okay, that really changes things. So it was chaotic, okay? Not to minimize it in any way, but it was absolute chaos. And I had to stop and think, okay, what are my main priorities, right? Perfection has gone out the window. One is I need to show up at this event and I need to make sure, I'm dressed appropriately and I'm in a good mental state. That was number 1 priority. Number 2 priority was, okay, do we have all the things that I can't buy? Like, whatever things that can be bought, if I forget them, then it's all good. I'm gonna release myself from that. So, like, medication, right? Those are like prescription medication, we
Yep,
would need to bring that with us. Certain food items that maybe we can't buy there, we would need to bring with us.
yep,
But I'm like, you know what? If we forget the flip-flops, it's not the end of the world. We'll just buy them when we're down there. Or if we forget sunblock or, some other thing that is easily purchasable. So I've released myself from packing, like, every single thing, into our odyssey. So, that made it so much better. So, I think when you're in chaos, one is release yourself from that idea of perfection. Give yourself grace and just tackle those top maybe 3 to 4 priorities and just leave the rest be. Because I think those are the main things, and if you drop the ball on them, then you're really gonna feel it. But dropping the ball on some of the lower priority items, it may not have that much impact anyway.
yeah, I think every mom just took notes.
I hope so, I hope
When they're
so. There'll be a
traveling,
test at the
like,
end.
summer's coming up, I'm like, "Okay, if I just pack the things that I actually cannot, duplicate down there, then
Yep,
then build from there,
then
life will
build
be
from
so much
there,
easier."
and then you're good, yeah.
So what gives you hope when you see women doing this work?
You mean, like, with women who are working with me,
Mhm.
like my clients? What gives
Yeah,
me hope is just I find I can't tell you just how fulfilling it is. I really can't. It is so fulfilling, especially when someone's truly struggling and, when they really don't know, like, what's the next step? What's the first step? Like, how do I get myself out of this? Because you're not just making an impact on this one person. That impact is being felt by an entire family, right? An entire community. And that to me, like it brings tears to my eyes when I'm talking to some of my clients because I'm just like, man, like here's something that I went through that was a very emotional process for me. And just the fact that I can help somebody, not get to that point, right? Where it's like, okay, they're just beyond. Um, I think one, it's really important that you identify when you need that help, right? That's key because I can't help anybody who isn't ready to help themselves.
yeah,
Um, that's really important. And then two, knowing where to look, right? And you have to vibe well with your coach, right? It's not like, and there's some people that I have calls with, and I'm just like, either for me it's not a fit, or for them it's not a fit, and I'm like, that's fine, right? Like everyone has a different vibe, a different way of doing things. And for some people, it makes sense, and for others, it doesn't. But I think identifying when you have that need and having the wherewithal to say, hey, I need some support is really, really important. But something I always tell all of my clients and something I gift to all of them is my Mighty Reflections journal. And there is a page in here that I think addresses this like head on. And that page is called the support map. And so on this support map, I ask them to there's a couple different needs that are highlighted on here. So this could be like, who can you call for an emotional check-in? Who's the friend who tells you the truth? Who's the one who can keep you accountable to your deadlines? And you just list their name, and then you kind of figure out how are you going to ask them to be your support. And then these are the people it's nice to stop and think like, "Hey, here's the other support that I need in my life," right? Maybe the need is not a personal coach. Maybe it's just you need someone to help you, be accountable for your physical health, right? To kind of like be your gym buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, those are the types of things that I think can be really integral when you're going through something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is so good. That is so good. I think that, having that in black and white, because in our head, we generally like, we know we have friends, whatever, we have support, right? But to have that concrete, I can look at this is who I go to for like my gym buddy, or if I'm like struggling, or if like I need to eat the chocolate cake that's in the fridge and I have already maxed out my calories, right? Like that's the person to
Right.
call.
So who's gonna talk me off that ledge? And that should
Yeah.
be the person. And if
Yeah.
you've already thought about it, then it's super easy. You're like, "Oh, my person is Lisa. Like, I've gotta
Yeah.
call Lisa,
Yeah.
and she's gonna be like, Mihika, that's enough with the chocolate cake. Eat an apple instead."
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, so if there's a mom that's listening who feels overwhelmed, stretched thin, and honestly tired, what would you tell her what do you think that she would need to hear today?
I think she needs to hear that she is completely worthy of all the good things that are coming in your life.
Yeah,
You are capable of turning this around. Don't listen to anyone who tells you otherwise because you have that power within you, right? We as women we're super women, right? We take care of so many things.
yeah,
And yet we forget that we need to be taking care of ourselves too. So I think when that happens, things start falling apart. So I believe every single woman out there is fully capable because we have already been given so much innate strength.
yeah.
It's just a matter of tapping into that and, realizing our full potential.
Yeah, I love that, and I think that, you said something a little bit ago that just, like, really resonates with that, right? So, you have, women or people that come to you, and it's not a good fit. But it's not something that you beat yourself up over. It's like, I already know who I am, and I'm okay with who I am, and it's okay for me to say no to this person. It doesn't devalue me as a person, and so to have that strength, and even, like so if you have, like, the neighbor or you have, like, whatever, well, and they don't line up with who you are, it isn't a reflection on you. It's like, it's okay for you to let them go. It's okay that thing that is bothering you, that plate that keeps going that is just too heavy, like, it's okay to set that down, and say, "This is just not for me." Like, my children do not need to do 3 sports in 1 season, like, that's just overwhelming, so this year, we're gonna, like, hone it down to 1 or, like, whatever that
Yep.
looks like. It's
Yep. Pick
okay,
the
it
one that
doesn't
you
make
like
you
the
a bad
most.
mom, it doesn't make you, your kids a disservice.
Mhm.
It's okay to confidently walk in that identity.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think sometimes we get influenced, right? We get influenced by whether it's social media or even your next door neighbor whose kids are in like seven different activities, and you're like, oh, that means my kids also have to be in seven different
Yeah.
activities. But that's a heavy lift.
It's so true. And, I always think of the videos that show like the behind the scenes, right? So you see in social media this perfect picture, right? And then the
Mhm.
video behind is like 20 shots where, Susie's chasing the dog's looking up, mom's like getting madder and madder, like, no, sit down,
What
and
did I tell you?
but on social media, it's like this beautiful family that with the
Mhm.
sunset in the background, the beach, everything's beautiful, and, like, it's not. What they're projecting is not their reality either.
Not reality, but so many people see that and they're like, "Why isn't" then they're questioning, right? "Why isn't that my reality?"
Yeah,
And that's why I think influencers like that really drive me nuts because 'cause I'm like, "Man, like, that's not what life is." Or the only reason life is like that is because maybe you have a chef or a housekeeper
yeah,
or, some other type of support that's enabling you to do this, other people who are taking care of those other spinning plates, and you're not really, being open about that.
yeah, yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming today and talking to us because I think that you have so much good, solid, concrete helps, right? So I think that this is a podcast that people will go back and listen to and go, okay, now wait. What okay, how
Mm.
did she structure her meals again? How did she do this again? It's just like it just is this plethora of tools in a toolbox that we're just, like, giving to you all. All you moms that are listening,
Yeah.
here's this toolbox that you can go
Yeah.
back to time and time again. And so I will also put your website in, the,
Yes.
comments so that if people are like, "Oh my gosh, she just read about me, I need to work with her because amazing. She's amazing. We only have amazing people on this show." And
Yes.
so I just am so grateful for you coming. Thanks for coming, and hopefully you'll come see us again.
And thank you for having me, Lisa.